It's time again for Behind the Law with Dennis Vetrano. Welcome back, Dennis.
Good to see you, Joe.
We've been doing our series on domestic violence, and thank you again to our friends at Grace Smith House for providing this wonderful information. One more question. Can we finish up with one more?
Sure.
What about the children?
Yeah, and I think many times that's overlooked. I mean, I've done a number of different consults where clients come in and they say, I'm being controlled, verbal abuse, borderline physical abuse and threats. So I know it's a domestically violent relationship. And what they say to me is, I'm concerned for me, but I'm really concerned about the kids.
Yes.
But not every victim who's a parent, in a domestically violent relationship sees it that way or really perceives it. I just shared something recently on Facebook from Psychology Today, and the question that's posed there is, are the kids really all right after domestic violence? And when I say after domestic violence, either post leaving the domestically violent relationship, or if you're still in it. So I think with kids can be very resilient, but I think, sometimes you're not always seeing everything that's there. So they had a couple of suggestions to really determine, put your finger on, are your kids really okay after the domestically violent relationship? Number one was, find out how your child behaves in other settings. Don't be afraid to ask friends, parents, daycare providers, teachers, psychologists, counselors, hey, have you noticed anything? What do you observe about the way my child behaves outside of my presence, outside of mine and my spouse's presence?
There's a good one.
That was number one. Number two, pay attention to your child's nonverbal expression. So sleeping, sleep habits, undereating, overeating, unexplained aches and pains. These may be an indication of unresolved trauma or problems. And the last one that they have here is, and I think this is an important one and one you could very easily overlook, especially with kids of younger ages. Is your child, or teen for that matter, having trouble focusing? And again, I encourage people to check out the Grace Smith House Facebook page, my Facebook page, this article that we shared from Psychology Today, because domestic violence can have a pretty extreme effect on kids. And sometimes you see it and sometimes you don't. But you really have to be vigilant to see those things are not very easily perceived.
To find out more about Dennis and his firm, please, by all means, visit that website.
drvetranolaw.com.
Dennis, thank you again.
Thank you, Joe.